and the financial predators are waiting for you to rush into Walmart and Target and all these other stores. Maybe not Target so much, but rush into all these different department stores and just shop like crazy. And, which is your right to do, right? I'm not one to judge you and your shopping habits. I'm just one to say that moderation really is the key. And one aspect of diversification is to find a nice balance between the growth of your resources and the protection of your resources, right? A person who's wealthy is somebody who knows how to protect what they have, not just somebody who knows how to get more. Doesn't matter if you go get more, if you're going to go waste it all and throw it all away. Can you, everybody agree with me? Do you get what I'm saying? All right. So as we start Monday in the morning, I know some of you were probably wondering, like, is Dr. Boyce going to meet on Thanksgiving? And some of you that have been around for a while, you just know I'm kind of fanatical like that. I will meet on every holiday, every day. I meet on my birthday, Christmas. Don't matter. It could be 9/11, and I would meet you. Like it don't matter. Like I think don't get me wrong, I still make time for my family. In fact, this morning I made breakfast for everybody. So I need y'all to just take a moment and pray for everybody in this household that they're gonna survive the Boyce cost because when Boyce gets to cooking, there's a big price. And the fire alarm was evidence of that. I set off the fire alarm. So I'll be having those like three alarm fire breakfasts. And I only know how to cook two things. I know how to make French toast, scrambled eggs, and bacon, and I know how to make a really good banana split. And so they're in there grubbing down on my food right now. So I must have did something right. What? What? Okay. All right. So anyway, that's my life. But anyway, with that being said, yeah, I they were asking me too. They were like, "So are you going to do class today?" And I said, "Yeah, I got to do class because it's very important, that when we form habits. I think this is the age of not just wealth formation, but really you're looking more so at something deeper than wealth formation. You're looking at habit formation. Habit formation is really thinking consciously about that which you do repeatedly. Habit formation, routine and discipline. Thank you, Linda. Great terms. Um, that really shapes who you are. It's like food. Like if you're overweight, like I have been for a lot of my life. When I was Fat Boys, anybody remember Fat Boys, the little chubby guy that used to pretend to be me 10 years ago? He was out here faking, pretending, probably stole my identity and stuff. I need to go file charges against him. So Fat Boys was out here pretending to be me, and because I was born in 2020, about 2000, about actually 2019. That's when I was born. So I'm technically about 6 years old now. Like my niece, I'm 6 years old. I should be in the first grade. Fat Boys was the guy who pretended to be me for the first, 48 years of my life, right? And so Fat Boys, let me tell you about this son of a bitch. Fat Boys used to, he was chubby. He had like a big double chin, and his belly was like just everywhere. And they kept telling him to go to the gym, and he would go one time and then not go for another 6 or 7 weeks. And let me tell you another little secret about this SOB misrepresenting, he's out here putting disrespect on my name. Fat Boys, how did he get fat? You might say, well, what's the origin story of this supervillain that we all know as Fat Boys? Well, Fat Boys, he didn't get fat from because he ate one big delicious meal. He didn't make one trip to McDonald's that just kind of ruined everything. He did this thousands of times. Okay, it was part of his lifestyle. It was his routine. It was his pattern, and he was a product of the pattern. He was a product of the pattern, right? So me, the real Boyce, the true Boyce Watkins, I had to kill that son of a bitch back in 2019. He's dead. Yeah, I buried the body. So now what? What you gonna do? Ain't nobody in there snitching. Ain't no snitches in here. I took that sucker out and I buried him. And so my difference with him, the reason he and I are not the same person, is because we're all products of our patterns, and my pattern is different from his. His pattern was wake up, eat some salty, fatty food, and maybe some ice cream right before bed. My pattern is get up at 5 a.m., go run 3, 4, 5 miles, whatever, right? His pattern was that he never met a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's that he didn't like. My pattern is I got a wife that feeds me health food and makes me eat all kinds of stuff that I had to learn about. I'm like, what is that food? Well, it won't kill you. Okay, great. Let me try that, right? His pattern was a lot of laying around, a sedentary lifestyle, not a lot of movement. My pattern is one where I love to move. I love to do things that are hard now. I love to get out and do things that are going to make me physically and mentally stronger, right? So we're all products of our pattern. So the question, here's the thing I want you to challenge yourself on when it comes to this wealth building exercise that we do every day. And the reason that we got up this morning on Thanksgiving and we're doing this every single day of the week is because everybody needs to really sit back for a moment. I would encourage you. I don't tell you what to do. I just give you ideas and encourage you. Look at your pattern. Sit back, look at yourself from the outside in. Have an out of body experience. Meditate on this. This is a consciousness thing. Look at your pattern. What is your pattern? Because we are all products of our pattern. What is your pattern? And because here's the thing about your pattern. The thing about your pattern is that that's really going to tell me more about who you are than what you say. If I say, well, who are you? You might give me some description of a fictional character that you want to be or that you're trying to become. But then if I go sit back and watch your behavior, am I going to see the same person emerge? Or are you going to be like Fat Boyce? Fat Boyce, he was a liar. He would say, "Yeah, I go to the gym, I work out all the time, and I'm in, I'm going to be in great shape." And but he wasn't doing those things. He was pretending to be me. He stole my identity. That's why I'm filing charges. But I killed him, so I can't file charges against dead people. I learned that today. And what I would say to you is, what is your pattern? When it comes to your wealth building, what is your pattern? Are you investing consistently every single week, or are you just talking a good game? When it comes to your physical health, what is your pattern? Are you getting up and moving and exercising and working out, or are you just talking about what you're going to do? What is your pattern? Did you do one great workout and then think that's going to change everything? No, it doesn't. When it comes to everything in life that matters to you, your relationships, whatever, what is your pattern? We're all products of our pattern. So my goal is not to teach wealth. My goal is not, I mean, teaching wealth and economics really isn't that big of a deal, to be honest with you. You live in the age of information. There's information everywhere. My goal is to change habits, change patterns. Because if we're not going to change the habit and the pattern, then why are we here? Why are you sitting here listening to me? It's Thanksgiving. You could be with family and stuff. I got family in there. They've been waiting on me and everything. Why are we wasting our time? Are you going to talk about it or are you going to be about it? Are you going to say it or are you going to do it? Are you going to do it once or twice or are you going to do it consistently? Because all the rich people I know, they invest consistently. All the healthy people I know, they exercise consistently. All the people I know that have great relationships and great lives, they're investing in those lives consistently. They're doing little things consistently. You are a product of your pattern. So don't just analyze the information. Don't just connect yourself emotionally to some grand idea. Sit down with your pattern, and some of you are going to have to commit a homicide. Some of you are going to have to become killers like me. Some of you are going to have to live with the guilt of taking yourself out, taking the old you out. You're going to have to take this up and poison him or her, cut him in the neck, whatever you got to do, throw some hot grits on him, and then drag his dead body out of the house and emerge as a better, more informed version of yourself. You are a product of your pattern. New patterns means a new you. That's what it comes down. That's what everything comes down to. What led me to say this? I didn't even plan on talking about this. I was literally going to give you I was going to literally say instead of Black Friday shopping, why don't we go Black Friday shopping in the stock market? I was going to give you some stocks, and I'm going to give you that. I promise you, I'm going to give you that. But sometimes God sends me in a different direction, and I got to listen to the universe. Okay, so what led me to say this? Let me tell you about my life. Okay, so this is a weird emotional time. I'm at home in my mama's house, and it's the first Thanksgiving I had without my mama. And I was in there I decided today to cook breakfast. I've never, ever, ever, not one single time ever made breakfast in this house. We've been in this house 30 years. I've never, ever, ever, not one time got up and turned. I didn't even know how to turn on the stove. Mama did that. I never turned on that burner. And so I decide, I'm gonna go in and cook breakfast, surprise everybody. I'm gonna make everybody breakfast. And so my niece was excited. She's 6, and my nephew's 4, and they're going to be millionaires. We're going to make sure of that. We're planning their trust fund as we speak. We're consistently putting money into it. I'll tell you exactly how I did it, so you can do that for your kids and grandkids and great grandkids. And I was in the kitchen going through and just in amazement of the fact that my mother apparently had amazing taste in kitchen utensils. Everything was like high quality, ultra premium. And so it would be little things like, okay, where are the pots and pans? I didn't know where the pots and pans were. I had to look in every drawer and I'm like, these are really good pots and pans. Where do I find a spatula? I'm looking for a spatula. Where I need the mitt. She had this. She even had this little griddle in the middle of the stove. Like it's not a pot. It's like a griddle. It's like rectangular. You know what I'm talking about? And there's a little burner that goes along this like a long ways along. I said, this is great for French toast. I can just square them up, and this is good job, Mama. So I'm having this connection with my mother by doing something that probably makes me sound pathetic as hell. That I never ever cooked in this house, not one time in 30 years. So I'm cooking and I'm learning and all that. And my niece was excited because she likes French toast. She doesn't eat eggs though, but she said I have the best bacon ever, which we got to work on that because my bacon's a little extra fried. I did set off a fire alarm, so but hey, you know what? Whatever it takes to make the kids happy. And I was going through everything that I was making for breakfast for the family, a bunch of eggs, a bunch of bacon, a bunch of French toast, and I saw this. It was like some kind of vitamin thing, right, sitting on the table. And I looked at it and it said something like healthy lifestyle, healthy lifestyle over 55. And it was apparently some pills or something that you take the vitamins so you can enhance a healthy lifestyle after 55. And I sat there and I said, huh, I'm sitting here in my dead mama's kitchen and my father, his health has suffered. And I said, I don't think they ever really had a healthy lifestyle. And it made me think about class. And it made me think about portfolios and diversification and asset protection. And y'all think that when I say this, some of you may think I'm talking about money, but if you know by now, if you know the class well enough, you'll know I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about all the things that are more valuable than money. And I thought about it and I said, man, my parents were such amazing people. My father was he was a major in the police department, highly accomplished. And every single year he was getting a promotion. He could have been the chief of police in our city. He ran the biggest, most crime-ridden district in the city. He was a commander of hundreds of officers. That's my dad was a badass in that way. And my mother was just amazing. Like everything I became pretty much came, a lot of that came from my mother. My father did not have a lot of time when I was growing up. My mother did though. And here you and they did everything well, right? You know, they never when I finished my PhD program, I had a friend who had parents in Mississippi, and her parents seemed to always be broke. So as soon as we got our first job, we were both making over 100,000 a year. I was able to do what I needed to do with my money. I didn't have anybody asking me for hardly anything. But she every week would get a call from her parents asking her to pay bills. Anybody know people like that? With the family's like, oh, you know, we made it big, so now everybody's eating, you know, dipping in somebody's paycheck like that. And it was very stressful for her. But I didn't have to deal with that stress because my parents were financially solid. They were not rich, but they had the perfect credit. We were stunned by how much money they had in their savings and investment accounts. Um, they owned assets. They paid the house off and everything else. I helped them do that some of that later, but that wasn't until another 20 years later. Like they could have did all that on their own. And so they did really well when it came to like education, when it came to their professional life, when it came to family. You know, again, my father, you would define him as an old school patriarch, and I know that the word patriarchy became an evil word, but in our house it actually wasn't so terrible because there was structure and there was discipline and there was not any shenanigans. We didn't have the Negro shenanigans in our house. That was not allowed. You know, there was no R. Kelly creeping to get with my sister. There was no, you know, breakdowns or abandonments and none of that stuff. You know, there was structure and we all love each other and everybody, nobody's smoking crack, you know, just all that, right? Everything's, you know, and a lot of you have families like that. And I think that that's not addressed enough, but still, you've seen it. And so I thought about it and I said, isn't that interesting? They did every single thing right. And it was the one thing that they didn't do right that cost them in the end. You know, when I saw my mother die from preventable diseases, she had all the Negro diseases, you know, high blood pressure, kidney issues, heart issues, you know, just everything that happens when you was a diabetes, all the things that come from the processed food and a lack of exercise, all these things were what took her to heaven. And And I thought about that and I said, huh. So I thought about that pill, that bottle of pills I saw that said healthy lifestyle. And I thought about it. I said, they didn't have a healthy lifestyle. They would talk about having a healthy lifestyle, but they didn't actually pursue a healthy lifestyle. They would go to the gym, they would get a burst of energy and go to the gym once or twice, but then they would stop. Right? They were consistently they also were products of their patterns in that they found God and they became very pretty religious. They would go to church every Sunday. That was a pattern they developed over time and it paid off. But one pattern they didn't develop was getting up and exercising. Usually everything was sedentary with the bad food kind of making things worse. And so what's interesting is that when you look at how they manage their portfolio of life, everything between sure, the financial assets are part of it. They did a great job. The spiritual portfolio, they did a great job. Consistent investment led to extreme spiritual wealth. When it came to family, great job. They invested 50 years in a great family that became a tremendous source of wealth for them, financially and otherwise. When it came to almost every single part of the process, every single part of their portfolio, they managed it quite well, except for the one that ended up costing them everything. And so what I really thought about was it made me think about the difference between what we say we want to do versus what we actually do, and also the difference between what we do every now and then versus what we do on a regular basis. So when you talk about being a product of your pattern, just understand that when we talk about wealth, what you want to pay attention to is not so much whether or not you went out and bought $20 worth of stock, 8 months ago. You want to look at your pattern and say, am I buying stock every week, every month? Because that's what's going to make you wealthy. Buying $20 worth of stock back in June and then waiting to see if it went up is not going to change a damn thing in your life. Just like that one trip to the gym that my mama took in 2005 didn't change anything. It's, but if she had made 1,000 trips to the gym, she would have been in that kitchen showing me where the pots and the pans are, right? So what I would say to you is when you talk about your portfolio of life, your portfolio, which is a collection of assets, a collection of things in your life that matter for you, portfolio protection is as important as expanding your portfolio. The other thing that matters is balance is everything. You have to have the balance. Right? You can't be the person who's out making all the money, but you're not taking care of your health because your health will take all your money. You can't be the person out here with the money and the health and not taking care of your relationships with family because that can destroy everything else. That can destroy your health and your wealth, right? You have to really sit down and in my view, this is just a suggestion. I don't tell anybody what to do. That's not my job. I'd rather persuade you than to force you into anything. Um, is look at the five things that matter to you the most. Right? Five things that matter: health and wealth, my marriage, my kids, church, whatever it is, writing my book, whatever, right? And look at those five things and look at those as five buckets. And every week, pour something into each bucket. Right? Just pour something each and just do it consistently. You are a product of your pattern. Don't be like Fat Boyce, who would talk about what he was going to do physically, but didn't hardly do it, or would do it once in a while and didn't do it consistently, or knew what to do. He had all the knowledge. People always say, "Well, it's the lack of knowledge." They go, "No, it's not the lack of knowledge that kills us. Stop that. We ain't stupid. You know, saving money is better than spending money. You know that that you're more likely to have money if you invest than if you take trips to the mall. So let's stop acting like it's just the knowledge. Well, they keep us from the knowledge. That's why we don't. No, it's the habits. It's that what you do consistently. That's what's going to shape your whole reality. There's never been a building that was built by one person laying down one brick. One brick does not build a building. It's consistently laying down tens of thousands of bricks in a certain pattern, in a certain way, and having a commitment to the long-term objective that requires repetition. You know what repetition looks like. People know repetition when it comes to sex. You know repetition when it comes to turning on the TV or scrolling through the internet. You know repetition when it comes to a lot of things. We all have things we know what repetition looks like when it comes to showing up for work for the white man. You count up the number of days you spent at work every day. I mean, think about this. You do 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. That's what, how many 50 times five? That's 250 days a year. So is that 2,500 days in a decade? So you do 10,000 straight days of consistently, repetitively showing up at that job every single day. So you know what repetition looks like. I just want you to be conscious and think about what repetition looks like when it all pours into your bucket and not somebody else's. I want you to know what repetition looks like when it creates a long-term benefit instead of a long-term cost. I want you to understand that when you talk about things like addiction, addiction is not always a bad term. Addiction to me my wife is an expert on addiction, so I want to be careful when I phrase this, but I always saw addiction as an extreme version of habit formation. Right? And really sometimes we don't know the difference. Are you addicted or do you just love to do that? Or is it a strong habit? Who knows exactly? I'm sure there's a technical definition for that. I can ask her. But my point is to say that addiction doesn't just mean you're addicted to drugs. Addiction can also mean that you're addicted to learning. Addiction doesn't always, it has a negative connotation, sure. So we can call it habit formation. It doesn't just mean that you got to have a drink every morning. It also might mean you need to read a book every week. Hey, addiction doesn't just mean that you got to eat the fried chicken every time you see a Popeyes. Addiction can also mean that you really, really, really love running marathons, or you really love putting money in your stock portfolio. I'm gonna tell you, I'm addicted. One of my financial, I don't call it an addiction because I don't know. My wife is she would probably be like, now, Boyce, there's a clinical definition of it. Okay, yes, ma'am. But here's what I'm gonna tell you. I think I'm addicted. I don't tell her, but I think I'm addicted to like spending money. I really do. I do it just you get money and it just burns a hole in your pocket and you feel like the money needs to have a purpose. So you're like in the mall, you're like, why is this money still here? Like you need to be doing something and to make my life better. So here's the thing. Um, Instead of shopping at the mall and fulfilling my appetite or getting that hit or whatever it is that you that fix of spending money at the mall, now I just go shopping in the stock market. I love buying stock. And the difference between spending money at the mall versus spending money in the market is that what I buy in the market is coming right back to me. You know, like when I'm buying extra shares of Google, that's me gaining more ownership in Google. And what I found was it was really fascinating because self-knowledge is everything in this process. I found that I enjoy buying stock as much as I enjoy buying sneakers. I was like, huh, look at that. I'll be damn. Okay, so let me just roll with it then. And so literally, I'll hop in there and I'll just be like, okay, I got some extra money. It's burning a hole in my pocket. Let's go shopping in the stock market, right? And it's fun. Some of you, as anybody, Agnes says she's got that. Anybody else get kind of getting that? Where you just getting the habit. It's habit formation, right? And the beauty of it is now you've got a habit that's like good for you. And I'll tell you some other things I'm addicted to. I want to, maybe you can be a fiend like me if you're not scared to admit to that. I am addicted to getting up at early in the morning and going running. I love breathing the fresh air and sweating and just feeling like I did something good and my ideas come to me. I'm addicted to that too. What else am I addicted to? I'm definitely addicted to my wife. I mean, Lord Jesus, look how pretty she is. I just so many things that you can be addicted to other than a bottle of liquor, right? So many things to be addicted to other than liquor, fried chicken, and Instagram scrolling and everything else, right? So I would say if you're gonna form strong habits or even addictions, be conscious even about that. Like, okay, what do I really love to do that just gives me that high? And the beauty of it is that if you find that you can get a high from doing something healthy, then that's going to make the experience that much more enjoyable, which will connect that dopamine to the experience, and that also makes you that much better at that thing, right? Like my daughter is addicted to dancing. She's like she can't go if she doesn't dance for 2 or 3 days. She starts acting like Pookie the crackhead. She starts tweaking and stuff. She can't. It drives her crazy, right? And so as a result, she's an amazing dancer. And I said, yeah. I said you got the three elements that I think are required to be brilliant at something. I said you have natural talent, you love it, and you're executing every day. You dance every single day. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you ended up dancing on Broadway or definitely in college and all that stuff. Like you got the juice, girl. Go run with it. Right? So ultimately, so let me pause on that moment And just mention really quickly too, just in case you want to know what we got going on in the Black Business School, we actually do have a code you can use in the Black Wealth Mastery store, Black Friday 60, which is all one word. And so if you want to go in and get some flashcards for your kids, workbooks for your kids, or my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, just go to drboycebooks.com, use the code Black Friday 60, all one word, Black Friday 60. It'll take 60% off, even if it's already discounted. Like, so the prices can get ridiculously low. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com or financialflashcards.com. That's all connected to the same site. It's up to you to decide what you'd like to do with that. All right, now what I want to do is do a little Black Friday shopping, and instead of buying crap, we're going to buy stocks. All right. So what I did was I decided to make a little list of stocks that you may want to take a look at that some analysts believe have tremendous upside. Some of these are stocks that I've been buying consistently that I think are just amazing long-term holds in your portfolio. Now, when I pick a stock, typically I pick a stock for a reason. Usually, in many cases, it's like, okay, do I think the stock has a chance to do well in the next 3 to 5 years? It's not, what's the stock going to do next week? You never want to be in that line of thinking. So, one stock that I have bought lately that I believe has potential is Apple. Apple, did anybody get the new iPhone update on Apple? Anybody try that out? It's really good actually. Apple they've been messing up a little bit because they kind of fell behind in the AI race, but I personally think they're gonna do what Google did. I think they're gonna come back and just shock everybody. I don't I mean I don't know, maybe they're just not into that kind of flash because they're just quietly making insane amounts of money with their iPhones, but I just can't imagine Apple not participating in the whole AI revolution. And I believe that there's shortcuts when you have money. When you have cash flow, you can just go acquire a company and just jump to the front of the line. So I think they're going to make an acquisition or they're going to do some sort of partnership. And I think that that could be a massive catalyst. But until then, though, the stock has actually done reasonably well this year, I believe. Let me see. I think year to date, it's actually up 14%, which is really good. But Apple, just solid company. A lot of analysts believe that the massive free cash flow is one of those things that's going to keep pushing the stock upward. Another one is Microsoft, MSFT. MSFT. I bought lots and lots of shares of Microsoft for two reasons. One, because again, that's just a great long-term investment. Two, they're well positioned in the AI race. They have all the elements that you need. You need the chips, you need the capital, you need the distribution, you need the compute, you need the and you need the models, right? They got all these things, and also Microsoft, in my view, um, is just a company that's going to consistently do well by its shareholders, right? So Microsoft is another one. Now, one more that I pulled up. It's kind of a little bit of a long shot, but a lot of people, well, not even a long shot. I'm going to say it's an oddity. It's a curiosity. Is Intel. Intel. Oh, can you guys hear me? Oh, it looks like I'm wondering if my screen made me disappear. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a quick yes in the comments. Okay. Sorry, my screen did something crazy, and so it made me wonder if I had lost you. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so Intel. Intel actually, even though it's owned partly by the government, which I think could be a good catalyst for the stock, but a lot of that may already be sort of, represented in the price. The stock has gone up 82% this year, which is a red flag actually. When the stock goes up that much, you got to be real careful if you invest in it. But I can't help but feel like Intel has room to run, and part of that is because if you look at Intel, if you zoom out, you'll find that Intel is actually down still 27% from 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Intel was a $50 stock. Now it's $36.81. That's not a guarantee that it's going to get back to its former glory, but that does say that they've had better times in the past. And so Intel, even though this year it's done 82% ROI, which is just insane, and that's a largely driven by the Trump administration's decision to get involved with Intel. I think that there's room to run. I think that with the right partnerships, with a good management team that can turn the company around, you can see that company become an extraordinary organization again. And also because things like quantum computing and AI have become matters of national security, I can see the government investing heavily in domestic production of everything that we need in order in order to win some of these important global races, right? So that's my 2 cents. This is not me telling you what to do or where to put your money, but it is me saying like this. These are some things I'm actually doing myself. Okay. So the ticker symbols INTC. Thank you, Kendall and Gary and Nicole. Oh, okay, sorry, my phone's talking to me. All right, so basically, I would say the other thing too, just speaking on the issue of balance, is when you form your portfolio, keep balance, always keep balance in mind, and I think it's just as important. It's important to think about how you can make more money, but it's just as important to think about how to avoid losing money, because if you avoid losing money, that's the same as making money. And so many people get involved in investing, they're not thinking about the avoidance or the protecting the portfolio. They're thinking about it growing the portfolio. And so as they're looking up and you're thinking about all the money that you can make in the future, you're not thinking about everything you can lose down below. You're not realizing, some people don't realize this, especially young people. Young people don't know that this market could easily chop away 30, 40% of your wealth just like that. So these basic things to protect you really, really go a long way. Okay. All right. Now, let's see here. Okay. So that's pretty much it. That's actually everything I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I know someone had asked me, sent me an email about stock options, and it was a medical doctor. I don't know if she's in here or not, but she sent me a note and she was mentioning how much she loves the class and she was trying to learn more about options. Well, we meet on options every couple of weeks in the Prime program. We had a meeting, was it yesterday or the day before? I get the days mixed up. I guess it might have been, was it yesterday? Holy crap, it was last night. And for some reason, I feel like it was 2 days ago. But anyway, yeah, thank you. I should know these things. Yeah, so if you want to join us, just go to drboyceprime.com. And you can also text the word options to the number 87948 to get notifications when we meet again. So text options to 87948 or visit drboyceprime.com. And we had a big party last night. Maybe it's the hangover, because we were in there for quite a while, and I hope that I answered a lot of your questions and everything. And also, the market will be open for half a day on Friday, and then it's going to shut down, I think, about 1 o'clock, and then it'll be open again on Monday. So there are opportunities that will emerge. There won't be a ton of trading though, because a lot of traders are home for the holidays, but still. Just keep your eye open because there's a lot of information. What happens too is on long holidays, information kind of gets clogged up like in the sink, and then it just kind of just splats out and hits the market like on Monday. So don't be surprised if Monday has like some crazy volatility. And this week has been an amazing week. Like this week, everything was just like up, up, up. So it's pretty cool. So don't be surprised if next week was is kind of messy. So it's I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on with the economy as we go along. All right. So anyway, so take care, everybody. God bless you. It was great to see you, and thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for listening to my story about my mama. It means a lot. This is an emotional weekend, obviously, and yeah, and so there's a lot to reflect on, right? But then again, I ain't the first person to lose a mama. So shout out to all the mamas out there and the daddies out there. You are a valuable asset. So